Hey everyone, this is Shawn Porter with Fight Legends Media. It's GameFi Throwdown. Again, I am joined by Smurf from Money Match Gaming. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing well, doing well. Thanks for having me.
Heck yeah. Good as always. Today we're going to hit up some Rev Racing, maybe among some other things, and talk a little GameFi, some crypto, whatever's come up in the last week since last time. Every Tuesday we do this, so thanks again for hanging out. And yeah, let's talk a little bit more about like Rev Racing. Um, how long have you been involved there and messing around with this project? Would you say?
So another project that I've been following for a long time, too long. I can't remember what the initial price of the NFTs were themselves, but it was
Mm,
just like I wasn't trying to buy in. I like to buy in at a specific time and slash when I see like enough that I can actually play and be involved in the game and enjoy myself. But I've been following it for about a year or so, and I only most recently bought the NFTs about a month or so ago. So early 2022, when I finally bought the NFT. This is an Animoca Brands project.
okay.
So Animoca Brands do a lot with the NFT space, and like I would have to Google that to see like how much they're involved with, but it's like a lot. And like once you start to like look up their like IPs and stuff like that, it's like oh they have that, oh they have that, oh they have that.
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
yeah, so they're like doing their things. Oh yeah, they're also I guess behind Phantom Galaxies,
Hmm.
which is another game that we were looking at. But yeah, they're just doing their thing in the space. This project has connections with MotoGP for when
Okay.
they're doing their bike version of stuff. I don't think they're like totally like that. That portion hasn't been launched yet.
Right.
But just working. It's a big enough brand that they can actually work with things
Hmm.
and get stuff accomplished.
Nice. Cool. So, you were kind enough to lend me one of your cars so that I can, basically get beat by you, which is nice. I don't know, in a weird way. I get it. That's a flex. Okay. Um, so how do we get started here? I mean, can I look and see if I received the car? Will it show up on my OpenSea? This
Yeah,
is
so it'll show up on your OpenSea, but then
yeah.
also since it's in your wallet already, just going to the game's website, REVV
Right.
racing.com,
We are
all
there.
one word.
Yeah.
And then once you connect your wallet to the website,
Hmm.
and there might be like some confirm transaction approved stuff like I forget because it's I'm already totally in there. But once you connect your wallet to the website
Yeah.
and you push the play now button, um, and most of the how to start information is already taken care of for you because it's kind of just telling you how to connect your wallet, how to get a wallet, how to
Right.
connect it, and then how to get that NFT. So you really just have to push the connect to the website and then push play now, and then you'd want to go to um, practice. So I'm actually just going to show you on my screen. Oops,
Yeah, I'll
over
switch
here.
over to yours because I was gonna say I don't see I have it connected, I believe, but I don't see the plea now. So
So
let
I'm
me
gonna
pop over to
disconnect.
yours
So
here.
it's just connect first,
Hold on one
and
sec.
it should have play now option like right in the front on the home page. But if not, you can also push the events tab at the top and then push practice.
Oh,
But
interesting.
so connect your wallet first, push play
Oh, I
now
think I may be too deep into the
into the website.
website. Is why I don't see the. All right, let me see here.
Yeah, you can get there from the top screen too. Though.
Okay, I see it now. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, so you want to go to there's a live and the events thing or whatever, but you want to avoid that at first and just go to practice. So even though they load it to you first, you want to go to practice. The live and upcoming events like charges you. I don't think it's is it Rev token. Do I have to have Rev? I'm only gonna be doing practice anyways right now.
And to
Um,
get to the practice, I still go through the play now, right?
yeah.
Okay.
So you push the practice button, and then you actually get to choose whatever map that you want or whatever circuit. Excuse me for race fans. They're like you're saying it wrong. No, you get to choose whatever circuit that you
Oh, I
like.
see practice. Okay.
Yeah,
Enter circuit. So
and
whatever's
then yeah, click
easiest.
enter circuit, and then it should show your cars once you enter the circuit there. So I have
Oh,
two
nice.
cars here.
You gave me the Santa Claus.
Yeah, I got that new Santa.
Ooh,
I actually just picked up the Santa and the gingerbread. I had the elf before,
nice.
but
All
yeah, they
right.
dropped. They were about $5. They dropped down to the four something range, and I was like, oh,
Okay.
cool. This dip got me for 8. I'm gonna get them.
Nice. And so, how, real quick, talk to me how your, well, No, never mind. I guess this is Polygon. So you where are you taking your money from to buy this?
To get these
Hmm.
cars? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have
Did
some
you have
money
it
on the
on exchange?
Polygon blockchain.
Yeah. Okay.
Obviously, and I use DeFi to get these, and so I use different DeFi projects. Some of them are a little bit more. The ones that I use today to get this is a little bit more DeFi degen.
Mm.
So I won't like the projects themselves, but they're like it's like an ROI DApp, so return on
Okay.
investment type of DApp. Which usually those type, the earlier you get in, the better, which is actually the case with any type of farm or cryptocurrency, honestly.
Sure.
But yeah, I make $20 a week at this point with those. During their heyday, I was making a few $100s a day with it. And so I have quite a bit of hex and stuff like stacked up in my account. And so I just split a little off, and I just went over there today and I had like $20. And so I was like, oh, let me get a few NFTs and send you some Matic. And
Nice.
that's where I got it from today.
Okay.
But it's all DeFi, baby.
So is there a point, like, because you said it was worth more, is there a point where you would consider like moving out of the project? Or I mean, how do you decide when it comes to
Oh,
GameFi? Are you ever trying to get out, or do you kind of just say, well, this I'm sinking this money in, I'll either get a return or I'm just going to enjoy playing it? Like, how do you approach getting into these projects?
oh, yeah, for Rev Racing.
Just in general, though, I suppose. Just what's
Yeah,
your general
yeah. I mean,
rules?
for the ROI DApp, that was just like a.
Yeah.
I mean, like that didn't really matter as long as I meet my ROI, my return on investment with a project, and I guess that's kind of like the strategy of myself, kind of the strategy in general with like those type of games or not games, DeFi projects or farms.
Mm-hmm.
You hear people talking about farming and DeFi and stuff like that. Typically, the smartest farming strategy, and what the majority of it, veteran or advanced farmers are going to do in crypto and DeFi is they're going to put their initial funds into the project as early as possible. And then they're going to farm out that third party token or however you get the income from it.
Mm-hmm.
So even if it was like Axie or something like that, you're going to farm out the game and get your initial income from it. And your goal is going to be to get that return on investment, the total 100% return on investment. So if you put $100 into the project, your goal from farming or from playing that game is to earn $100 and then take $100 out of the project and put it back. If you use Bitcoin initially to get it, put it into Bitcoin. If
Right.
you use cash to get it, US or not normal cash, but not fiat, but BUSD or USDC or something. But if you use USDC to get it, then put it back into USDC. But then you get your return on investment or ETH or whatever. But you get your return on investment. You make sure that you basically take no loss on the project, and then the rest of the time that you're either farming in that project or playing that game, you're just in profit. And so that's like the general strategy that I take with anything. In some cases, it's like, a smarter method to like maybe not take that profit right away to like build up a higher like liquidity, and like
Right.
earn more quicker or something. And then like, you earn the same amount that you would have across a whole bunch of days in one day. But generally speaking, it's, take that profit out, make sure you get your ROI, your return on investment. And then the rest of the time in that game is just free money.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the move. But I guess that's why it's important, at least for me. I'm like, oh man, it's hard for me to take the plunge on one of these projects, so to speak, without like really feeling like I would enjoy playing it. Because I already have some exposure to games where I'm like, okay, this is awesome, but thank God there's like a rental system.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this would be useless to me because I just don't have the time or interest in playing some of the games because, I mean, they're just not that fun. Or just not. Everyone's got their kind of the games they enjoy. I'm a fast
Hmm.
paced game kind of guy usually.
Yeah.
So like the card games and stuff that come out, I'm just like, I don't know, they're all right, but it's good for learning, like certain mechanisms of GameFi. So there's at least
Yeah.
that. All right,
Yeah.
well, yeah, I see my car here. Where's my story room? Here we go. Let's scooch over to this. Okay, so everyone can see my car, and then so race now. I just pop in there now. Is this a controller?
Yeah, so you can hook up a controller to it. I have
Ooh,
my Xbox controller hooked up. Otherwise, you can just use your mouse and keyboard. I
that's
don't
the
think mouse
worst of
actually matters at all. I think it's
driving
just
though.
keyboard. Um,
What's the worst type of game to play on the keyboard and mouse? It's got to be racing, right?
I mean, maybe. I don't think I've ever played a racing game on the. I have the opportunity here, but I'm not gonna take it. I'm just like,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm like,
like I
oh
could just
well.
unplug and go at it one day. But I'm like, do I want to do that? That sounds painful. I'm like such a controller player that like even with like AAA titles like Overwatch or Halo or something
Right.
like that. Us playing them on the PC, most people are like, "Yeah, you're on the PC. You can use that mouse experience and get like more accuracy." And I'm like, I want to be the best controller player on PC.
Yeah, I never got that. Like I was my kids growing up in that day and age where they're like looking down on controller players when it comes to FPS, and I'm like, bro, I don't know. It seems like it's kind of a pain.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, yeah. I just, it's not really here. I get it. I get it. You know, it's quicker because the mouse can move so much quicker than the controller can. Truly, like it's just so touchy. And so if
Right.
you barely move it, or if you flick it a certain way, you can totally. And
No,
some
but
games don't have the mechanics to stop you from truly. If you wanted to do like a 360, a mouse can. You just barely move your hand
right.
and you spin around in two circles technically. Versus a controller, you actually have to move your thumb in a circle or something.
Right. And that's true even though maybe you can like mess with the sensitivity of the sticks in the game. It's
Hmm.
still not
Yeah, it's still
to
not catch
that.
up to it,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah. All right, what the heck?
Yeah, I'm like, kind of buy some rev tokens now. I'm like, I don't know if I needed those rev tokens. I'm gonna get a few rev tokens. I don't know if I needed those.
I plugged in my controller and then somehow unplugged my mouse. But I didn't unplug anything. So that's what happened. Okay, there we go. Something's clearly loose. All right, it says it seems like it's waiting.
Oh, your computer?
No, like I hit race now or whatever the prompt was. But then now I'm just getting the waiting kind of circle. Maybe I should go back and reload. I see that it has weight stats, so I assume that we're gonna have some
Yeah, it usually
traction
loads
mechanics.
pretty quick for me because it's just like a
All right, let me reload here.
they like make you sign like a you got to sign like a transaction and stuff
Right.
like that or whatever. So let me see. Oh, I was supposed to buy those tokens, whatever.
I'm gonna scooch over to us for a sec.
Yeah, so you should have to sign that transaction first.
Maybe that's what I missed the first time was signing in on the. All right, there we go. I think that was the ish.
Yeah, and I think this is a smart idea from them to all the practice times and the official race times and stuff like that are stored on the blockchain in some sense. They're like all tied to transactions,
Mm-hmm.
which is really cool with the official racing times, in my opinion. Because I was wondering if Money Match Gaming would be able to make it so that
Mm-hmm.
the Rev community or our own community, if not even the greater Rev community, could do some races against each other and stuff. And I'm like, oh, how will we be able to do that? I don't want, we're going to do screenshots of people's race times
Yeah.
or something. Then I was like, people might cheat or try to edit it or something. Like, how do I get that? And no, it's tied to a blockchain transaction. And so, like, nothing, get your wallet address. Like, you can't be cheating me if I'm going off your wallet address and like the time of it and all this other crazy shit. So,
Which to me is like one of the major purposes of blockchain, right?
yeah, yeah,
Building on blockchain tech is that sort of.
that open ledger
Yeah. All right, we're loading up
transparency.
here. Yeah, that's major. So
Yeah,
what
so
other?
you should like after you sign it, it should look
Mm-hmm.
like this. I guess I'm just gonna wait. Like it's just a practice, so I'll wait.
All right.
Sorry, you gonna say something?
No, I was just gonna throw to you like what other stories or news had you been looking at for the week?
Oh,
I was trying to think of what I had on my.
the recent dip today,
Mm.
in crypto, but I'm not surprised.
I mean, how many
Um,
green candles in a row were we? I mean, it was.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people on my Discord were talking about we've been in this other token, and try not to get people too like bullish and stuff like that
Yeah.
by mentioning tokens unless you want me to mention names. But we've been in this other token. I've been mentioning it in our crypto and NFT section for like the last week or so, like 2 weeks
Mm-hmm.
now or something. And the token is up. One of my homies was like trying to be like, "Oh no, Dogecoin, this and that," and I was like, "He's like, oh, I finally hit the price that I wanted it to hit. Told you I'd get it." And I'm like, "Yeah, I hear you, bro, but like, it's still like the tokenomics of those are so bad. Like, look at the token that I've been talking about in our Discord." And he like looks at it and he's like, "Wait, 200% in a week?" And I'm like, and I've been telling you for 2 weeks.
Ooh.
I'm like, yeah, it went up 200% this week. And
Right.
so it's been bullish. It's been green. It's been almost all green candles for like 2 or 3 months. And so I'm like, you had so long to jump in and just like do way better than Dogecoin in the month. This morning, one of my other homies hit me up about that same token, and he's like, "Oh, I think they're trying to do a soft rug or something like that." So soft rug pull, for those that don't know, is just like when they instead of like a rug pull itself, where you just like remove everything right away. Oh, sounds like somebody's in their race.
Yeah. I wonder
Uh,
if it's gonna double the audio. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, but for a soft rug, they slowly move the funds out or whatever. And so my homie was hitting me up this
Oh,
morning, and
right,
he was
right.
like, "Oh, I think they're doing a soft rug on that project." And I was like, "Well, why do you think that?" And you gotta watch it with those turns.
Shush. No, you don't know. You don't know what happened.
You gotta take it so easy. You don't realize you're going like 140
Oh,
miles an
bro.
hour. Um, but yeah, he was saying that, and I was like, well, yeah, it dipped like 20% this morning or whatever. But I'm like, got to consider the last few days. It's been going up 20 to 50% every day for the last week.
Okay, what is
Like,
it?
oh, the token?
Yep.
It's called Elephant or
Elephant.
Elephant Money. I actually just made a YouTube video covering it a few days ago. And oh yeah, you're in our Discord, so yeah, you can click the
Yep.
crypto and NFT section as well. And like, I leave like all these links and stuff like that for people to check out.
Okay. See, so
Um,
I'm also guilty of not checking in on the, you know, the insider information.
yeah, we try to drop that alpha.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's up like it's up nine. It was up for a moment this morning. It was up 900% in the month.
Jeez.
Yeah. So in the last 30 days, it was up 900%.
So what's
my homie was
driving all
like,
the hype? And
so hype around the project in general is helping it a little bit, but then also the way that the token is structured, the vast majority, like 70% of all of the tokens, and it's a
okay.
reflect token. So with a reflect token, similar, you want to think like Safe Moon, where just holding
Right.
the token earns you more of those tokens on buys and sells,
Mm-hmm.
because it has a 10% tax or more associated with it. So this one has a 10% tax, and 70% of all the tokens are held by smart contracts
Oh,
associated with the token. You don't often see that. Normally you might see like 30, 40%, 20% honestly for most tokens, and like
okay.
the holders get the rest of them or something like that. 70% held by smart contracts that are made to buy back up the token, or at
I
a
see.
at a top or at a bottom in certain situations,
Right.
is like really bullish for the token itself. And so
Interesting.
if you have ordinary market players, myself and other people actually buying into this token as well, and then the token is also doing that stuff, it really starts to move. And it's really hard for somebody to just dump on the market when 70% of all the supply is
It's just
held
gonna
by
pop
smart
back.
contracts
Yeah.
that are made to buy up the token.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So I mean, is that something that people and projects are like building in, are baking into the economics of their projects? Like, is that something Fight Legends would look into, like implementing to help
It
out with that sort of
could.
thing? Yeah.
Yeah, it could. It just really just depends on the developers, their knowledge of blockchain, these type of things that do that type of stuff. Because this developer specifically, his name is Bank Teller. I've followed their project since about 2019 or so, and they've just kind of done that historically with their different projects. They've always made these ROI type of dApps, things
Interesting.
that you can invest in and
Yeah.
expect to make your money back, and then so much more money based on the tokenomic structure. Uh, Excluding any other players um, participation in it.
Interesting. It's almost like staking, but without that actual mechanism being at play.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So always look for good tokenomics, and like you can't catch that type of information unless you are used to looking at like the Explorer for that project
Right.
or that token or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
like, cause like I was like, I get skeptical whenever I'm buying a token. I look at the Explorer, I see how many holders there are of the token. I see, who has the most tokens in that. Because if somebody has 1%, that means that they sell all their tokens. They can drop the tokens.
Right.
They can drop the price by 1%.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, okay, who's got the biggest bags? Um, and yeah, one of the biggest bags are a smart contract that's made to eat it up. I'm like, okay, so even if something goes bad for a day or so,
So
it's probably
now,
gonna go
when
go
you're
back up.
looking at something on the Explorer, will you be able to see like will it tell you like, oh, you'll be able to say, oh, dang, well, the team has X percentage of the tokens. Will you also be able to see like the vesting period?
Um, Oh, like how long they're locking them up
Yeah.
for or whatever?
Hmm.
Depending, kind of
Okay.
sometimes, depending on your knowledge of blockchain and smart contracts and stuff like that. You
Well, like
can
as
look in.
our project, like Fight Legends would want, because we have a pretty solid vesting. It's like 8 months plus for most of
Mhm.
the team. So that's something like we want people to know, right? Would we easily be able to make that something people could see when they were researching our project on something like that?
Yeah, not super easy unless you're
Okay.
using like a platform that's like known to do that. Like there's some protocols where people like specifically where people are known or projects are known to lock up their tokens within that protocol, and it's more public. But otherwise, when they do that, sometimes if it's like just written in a smart contract with like your teammate or something like that, then the people, they need to understand how to read smart contracts, like read the underlying code, what to look for in there. Sometimes a lot of that information is a lot easier to find depending on how the smart contract was written and
Right.
like what appears in the write section or the read smart contract section. Sometimes that's like really, really well defined, but oftentimes it's not, and it's just like kind of hidden in the code, and maybe intentionally or otherwise, and so it's harder for the average person to just figure out what the
Right.
heck's going on.
Okay. Interesting. And what was that
Um,
site that you said you used to look things up
to do what? I'm sorry.
to research? What are some of the
Uh,
sites you use?
Wait, to research the smart contracts
Yes.
or
Or do you go to do you go to the actual blockchain and
yeah? So
yeah, okay.
a multitude of things. So I'll go to the Explorer itself. Like I understand some Solidity and stuff, and so I'll
Hmm.
go to the Explorer and I'll actually look at the read and write
Explain
sections of
what
the
the
smart contract.
Explorer is to a newbie like me.
Yeah, so the Explorer is the ledger. You want to think of
Oh,
the
okay.
Explorer as the actual ledger. There's like a website that displays, like everybody knows the Bitcoin has a
Hmm.
ledger and stuff like that. Ethereum has a ledger, but the Explorer is the place that visualizes the blockchain ledger to you. And
Okay.
so if
So
you're
I've
looking
used
at a
the Hive
token,
one for that before. I get
yeah,
you. I've never. I guess
yeah,
I just didn't. Have never heard it termed the
maybe refer
Explorer
to it as an
before. Yeah, yeah.
Explorer.
For whatever reason.
Yeah, I mean Hive just has its own name for certain things.
True. True.
And it was very early on too, so that honestly they probably came up with a lot of names first.
That's fair.
Um, but yeah, so the Explorer is a place that kind of like visualizes that. So
Okay.
every blockchain has their own Explorer. Polygon has like Polyscan or whatever it's called.
Okay.
Binance has BSC
I'm
scan.
caught up
Ethereum has
now.
ETH scan.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, but yeah, you go there and you can look up information there on the Explorer, or there's certain websites, and so these are run by individuals that are made
Sure.
to like help out with
Hmm.
situations like that.
Like
I've seen
front
some.
ends, basically.
Like, was that?
Like I said, like basically, it's like a front end for that makes the Explorer easier to
Oh,
navigate,
well,
or
kind of.
okay.
Well, they won't even be like, the ones that I'm mentioning at least won't even be attached to the Explorer.
Oh,
It'll
okay.
be really like run by like almost like a company or a
Uh,
group of people, collective of people.
right, right. Gotcha.
And so the one that I'm thinking of right now, and I've seen some other ones that are like paid to access or whatever, but I can't remember their names because I'm like I'm not going to pay for this crap. Uh, but but the one that
I get that.
one that I do like and use often is called RugDoc, and so I was mentioning before the concept of a rug pool, and so rugdoc.io is RugDoc, and they often will review, kind of like audit. They'll do their own group audits of smart contracts,
Right.
and they'll find all the the potential risk of those smart contracts. So maybe I can't say all because like who knows if they're finding like every single thing, but they're doing their best job to actually audit those smart contracts and find a lot of those potential risks that the average person won't be able to just read the solidity code and understand. So things like, okay, these people have the ability to move the funds every 48 hours. The tokens are technically only locked up for 48 hours for these people, or they can pause the smart contracts, or they can pause the emissions rate, or change this or that, or increase the deposit fee, etc.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm looking at these now. They have high risk ones. They have different ratings for different projects.
Yeah, that's like I feel like RugDoc is like a must for anybody, any DeFi degens, as I like to call them, and most DeFi people that are like really on the in the Western
Right.
front, like the Wild West of DeFi.
Right.
Most people would prefer to like look at something like a RugDoc, and
Mm-hmm.
like you can do your own research, but you always
It's a
want
good place to start.
more people's eyes on the project too.
Sure. Interesting. And let me go pop over to coin. So first, I've been playing. I'm horrible, as you can hear, apparently.
It is tough. It's tough
So
though.
I've
You
been like
can't
trying
just
to
like.
take it slow. I've got a little bit of lag with everything, but so that's part of it. I'm gonna pop onto CoinGecko here and see
Oh no.
categories. Yeah, I gotta find my controller, get my controller working because keyboard's
Oh, are you
not
using
it. I
keyboard?
was trying, man.
Oh
I
no.
just
Yeah, I'm like,
hopped
I don't
on
know
just
how
to
keyboard would
try.
be. That's probably really tough,
Oh, it
honestly.
was the worst.
Because you gotta go. You can't like. I remember the first time
You
me
have to
trying to go.
click.
Like,
You can't subtly like
I mean, you have to do
turn.
that with the controller too. You just gotta like slow. Well, oh, with the
Hmm.
turns though. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
turns
tough.
is probably really tough then.
It was
Yeah, because I'm
impossible.
like just accelerating with the throttle. You have to like really just tap, tap,
Yep.
tap, tap. You don't want to break 130, 140 speed on most situations.
Let's see, top crypto by wait, not by market cap. That's not what I said.
My race results. What were your time? Do you still have your times?
I think I'm on lap four, and then I was like, God damn it, I'm stopping.
Oh, you just stopped.
This is ridiculous. I just wanted to pop on and see if there was something. Oh, that's right. I popped on to look at that rug doc thing you were saying. That was interesting. So I wanted to get that up there for people to check out. And then I was just jumping on to see we got Yield Guild Games is a mover. Uh, Fear. Ooh, Fear. You know what? I think I'm in their Telegram from a while back. Oh, they've been moving pretty good. That's
They
that's
seem to have like a nice, pretty big community around them. So like, even though I feel
mm-hmm.
like they haven't had like any like projects that really just popped off in the last year or so, I know they have the popularity to pop off, but they haven't. It seems like because they did some stuff on Wax and whatnot, it
Right.
just didn't really pop like that. But yeah,
And
that community is important.
yeah, they had some sort of survival horror project they were working on that I was intrigued by. Zookeeper, UFO gaming. That sounds like a whole ecosystem.
Hmm.
Um, don't really hear Dope Wars paper. That sounds vaguely familiar for some reason, but DeFi Kingdoms.
Yeah, DeFi Kingdoms. That's the move recently.
I've seen them move, and yeah, I've heard stuff about them. I've never dipped in there and checked them out though.
It's pretty cool. It's a
I
good one.
just I just saw Alpha and Atari. Do you remember what it is? Atari's in the news recently for their move. They were doing something. I can't remember exactly.
I mean, Atari has been in blockchain since like
Mm,
they
okay.
early to blockchain,
Yeah, yeah.
but they're on Wax, so you can get like different Atari games and stuff like that. It's like
Word.
memorabilia pieces on the Wax blockchain
Sure.
that are 3D rotating and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. And then they also have a space in the sandbox. So probably the sandbox is getting the most attention right now from Wax.
Okay,
Or not,
maybe that's what
not
it
from
is then.
Wax, but from Atari. Atari in
Oh,
the
sure.
sandbox is
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
what's getting the most attention.
AtariChain.com. Let's check this out here. Oh, man, my mouse is garbage now. Okay. Let's go to their. I'm going to follow them on Twitter just so I can. Power of the past, force of the future. Atari token. All right, I like that. That's a good slogan. I'm not mad at that at all.
Yeah, I think they have a bright future as long as they like actually if they actually make a game or something. And they taking a free time as far as that stuff goes. But
Right. The Atari token ecosystem has grown rapidly with plans for sports betting, integration of classic games, and even a virtual casino in the metaverse. Interesting. They're going the virtual casino route, huh? What do you which metaverse or land are you invested in the most if you are open
um,
to talking about it?
yeah, the only land
Mhm.
that I own is Axie Infinity Land.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
I own some Axie Infinity Land. Again, I'm really big on games that have that fun utility, actually have utility. Other lands that I would have invested in, things like Sand,
Right.
uh, Decentraland. Those are two, and then like Somnia space. So
What's the
those are
Centraland's
the ones.
token?
Which one?
The Centralands?
Yeah. Oh, what's their token?
Yeah,
Mana.
mana. Yeah, so that's mana. I definitely have actually. That mana is the first bag I got where I actually sold at a top and then
He,
bought back in because it was right after the some like metaverse meetup they had like at the beginning of or late last year, and I didn't not the very top, but high enough that I was like, okay, this is definitely going to go back down. I did my research. I knew it was because of this meetup that everyone was like coming out of it all hyped. But I also am confident in the project enough that I, just bought back in and I was like, yay, one of those things. You got to do the
yeah.
first one where you click and you're like, oh god, and then you wait and you're like, please go back down.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel I had so many opportunities with Mana where
yeah,
like I was there just so early to the party where like I remember when Decentraland was like 100 some dollars or so, like $200
me
whatever. I'm
too.
like, oh, that's
I figured
expensive.
better late than never. I know,
Yeah,
me
and
too.
then like even when you could get land for like $900 or so, I remember having that conversation with Lily when we were like working for Nash and stuff because it was around that time,
Mm, mm.
and I'm like, man, I feel like the metaverse is really gonna pop soon, and everybody's gonna be talking about everybody's gonna be talking about it.
You're
And
crazy, man.
people gonna be saying all this
Nah,
stuff. I'm like, I
it's not gonna
wish I
happen.
wish Nas wasn't so whack, and they would like listen to me about some of this stuff. We could like invest in it and whatever. And she's like, well, we should just take some of our own money and like put it in. And I'm like, I really don't have stuff like that or whatever because I was definitely like, I was trying to make my come up in crypto, and I feel
Sure.
like it hit that year, especially after I quit Nash. But just didn't have it like that at the time to like make any type of investment like that. It would have been like so much of my money. And then sure enough, all of like 2-3 months later, like metaverse is on everybody's lips, and the Decentraland price just started shooting up. And like now you can't get any of these other lands that I just mentioned for like more than like a few $1,000, $10,000 or something like that around the average. It's
You
just
gotta
like, ugh,
find new ones.
yeah.
There was one, man. I wish I keep telling everyone about it. I need to remember the name of this damn project. It was like a GTA
Oh, I
style,
think I know what you're talking about.
and I was
Yeah.
like, holy shit, man, this looks awesome. Like they had already workable, like, well, at least in the what looked like demo footage. They were like in a monster truck and like riding a dragon, or they were maybe avatar dragon flying. But either way,
Mm.
like lots of, it was more dynamic than some of the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
And then they obviously had the heist. So I'm just imagining like, man, you go, you pick up. I'm telling my kids, I'm like, this is cool, guys, because you're gonna be able to go. They're playing GTA. I'm like, yeah, imagine coming out of the bank and that heist money is actually crypto, and you can
Yeah.
go and like go down to the city, and every major project has a building on the metaverse block, so you can go into Fight Legends and buy something there, or pop into Fight Legends and watch a fight that's going on, or you can pop
Seriously.
into Rev just and a car dealership, or I'm like you can go into a Domino's and you can order Domino's and it's going to be actually ordering you a Domino's, so you never actually have to pick up your phone. I'm like, you don't right now, you got to pause, right? Like I'm trying to hype my kids up for it, right? Because they're still playing
Yeah.
the old school games. I'm like, imagine not having to pause. You just go into one of your stores, get the money, you paying for the money for the game from the game you're playing, and it's just I'm like, come on.
Seriously though.
That got them a little
Seriously.
interested. They're like, oh, that's cool, I guess. They
Yeah.
tried to
I'm
play it
like,
down, but they were impressed.
yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely a future that's coming. Definitely a
Yeah.
future is coming. And like I forgot another one that I didn't mention.
Hmm.
With two other ones that I forgot to mention.
Okay.
Because they're like smaller. They're technically lands of those different places, but they're smaller ones. One would be Guild of Guardians. Um, so we have in that
I've heard of
one
that
instead of
one.
like actual land, like they just released their alpha gameplay and stuff like that.
Okay.
But in that one, instead of like actual land, you were allowed to get guilds. So you're actually allowed to buy up different guilds in there. So Money Match Gaming purchased a guild. That was one of the few projects where we actually took place in like their initial launch and like buying of it. Usually, I just try to get something off the secondary market once the
Okay.
price is dumped a little.
Sure.
And then the other one is a big time. So we bought a few big time spaces. So you get space in big time. And I guess space is the only way in big. Like it really interested me because they have a lot of cool developers and stuff working on big time. People from like Overwatch and people from like uh, God of War and
Oh.
all these other games and stuff like that. Yeah, it's like a lot of like big time developers that are like yeah, we're gonna work on this new game.
Is it
And I'm like,
bigtime
yo, they got old
IO?
Blizzard developers and stuff. Whoa. Um, I'm sorry, you said the name of it, Big Time.
Big
Yeah.
time
So
IO
it's
or big time
yeah,
GG?
Big Time,
It's
Big
like,
Time.gg.
yeah. Okay, I see it.
Yeah, and
Ooh,
so
cool. I
yeah,
like
it
that
looks
art
really
style.
cool.
Yeah.
It's on the lips of like a lot of blockchain gamers and stuff like that. But yeah, to get some of the rare pieces in big time or to craft in big time, you have to have these spaces. And the more space that you have, the bigger and like the more items that you can
Hmm.
like craft. And the spaces are also limited. And so there's only so many like I guess there's gonna be like ways that you can like play the game and get certain like spaces, but it's limited. And
Right.
so like regardless, like eventually there's not gonna be any more space to be had, and you're gonna have to like party up with different like guilds or whatever and like
Right.
use their space. And so I was like, oh well, yes, I like max supply.
Well, that's super cool. I always think about like the more I get into this, I'm like there are so many projects right now. They're not all. We can't all make it. Like we're all gonna make it thing doesn't seem like it's actually genuine thoughts. Like we can't. There's like 18 different FPSs, man. They can't all be played by everyone. I'm very familiar. Like we're wondering if like we need to start taking pot shots at different fighting games, and then we realized, well, that's what they would need to do. Whereas we can just show off what we're doing, and we're already going to be better than them. They need to start taking pot shots at us, which they kind of already do. So, what are your thoughts about just like, is there room for everyone on the hill?
I think there's room for everyone on the hill,
Okay.
depending on people's creativity. Like I feel like there's a large. It's going to be a large part in terms of people's creativity on the hill. I feel like my initial or just not initial, but my feelings toward humanity and different individuals, human beings, and stuff like that. I'll start with that kind of because is that people often don't realize the gifts that they have. That's like the hardest part about humanity and like people in like the working class or whatever it is that you want to call it, and like education even,
Mm-hmm.
is that people don't realize the gifts that they are given. And then, like I feel like I like realized that during college where I myself struggled. Like I was always like a good student and stuff like that, like honor student and this and that. And then
Right.
get to college and I'm trying to study a certain course and I was struggling for a while. And then had a conversation with this one teacher that I really liked, my professor, and they were like, you just go down the path that you really enjoy and this and that. And I was in a fraternity as well, so I had witnessed some of my friends that were like really excelling and stuff. And I just decided to sit them down. I'll pay for your food and stuff like that. Let's have a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, yeah, uh, like I'm out partying every night and still pulling these A's because the coursework is super easy for me. And I'm like, okay, bro, but yeah, besides it being easy, he's like, no, I just feel like I'm like gifted at the coursework too. And I'm like, okay, so that's a little bit more. So it's something that just comes like naturally to you. He's like, yeah. So like, it just comes naturally to me. Like this is stuff that comes naturally. So like find something that comes naturally to you. Um, and I just stopped fighting the like I feel like a lot of people are pressured down like the route of like, oh, I want to do medical or something like that because it
Yeah.
makes more money or something like that. Meanwhile, maybe they're actually just a really good graphic artist. They're like their artwork is like insane. All of their friends agree. Anybody who's seen their work agrees that it's insane, and they're struggling in the medical field. To like keep those grades up, the
Yeah.
stress of it and stuff like that. And like you could just go down the graphic route, arts route, and be a superstar, honestly, but you have to like accept and that's kind of like the promise is going to go back to the blockchain. But that's kind of like the humanity part that I feel like a lot of people struggle with is just like accepting that they actually have talents at certain things, like whether or not they recognize it. A lot of people with social talents and stuff like that, the ability to either want other people to be around them or to communicate with other people on a certain level or whatever it is. People have these really special skills that we need to focus more on, like finding out what those individual skills are, like as far as humanity goes in general, and then we'll succeed. And the same thing I would say for blockchain and blockchain games and different DeFi projects and stuff like that. Oftentimes, like instead of everybody like fighting against each other or whatever, which was like kind of like the case back in the Steemit days, or whatever.
Sure.
Um, and I'm like, certain blockchains have, they came up with a cooler idea of something. Like not everything about it is like the best, but like they have some type of specialty that they're really good at, and that comes from that person who developed that blockchain's like talent.
Right.
And so like, intertwining those talents and stuff like that is how we really succeed. And so like, yeah, even like in a far off future where there's like, there's like 2,000 different fighting games and stuff like that on the blockchain and whatever. I feel like the ones that really succeed the most will be the ones that like really lean into their talents.
Mm.
And that's like maybe it turns out to be that they're really good at character design.
Right.
or the fact that Fight Legends has like the trainers thing to it, and like, or maybe just the fact that you have this trainer ability and stuff like that with yours, and like how that like interacts with not just Fight Legends, but like what that means for other people's games and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. The cross
But I feel like
transfer.
those small like little pieces are really what's gonna lead to certain like the everybody making it type of mentality or feel. And like kind of like as you were saying, like everybody's not going to make it because everybody does. Humanity just doesn't work that way for whatever, for as sad as it is.
Hmm.
Everybody doesn't realize that we all have these individual talents, and then everybody doesn't want to work together.
Basically, what you're saying is the market is it's possible that what happens is it's just hard to see now because there's so many large verticals. But what this does is it makes it more shallow but wider, right? So
Mhm.
the market
Yeah,
share is just shared amongst more projects instead of just Call of Duty dominating, because now they're going to be even more projects they're competing against, and they have those projects have more potential to be better than
yeah,
Call of Duty because they don't have to follow in the wake of Call of Duty when it comes to the production side, like
right.
people trying to
Yeah,
chase that success. And I love what you said about some people not necessarily having their skills celebrated, or they don't know what their skills are. And oftentimes it's like the social skills, things like maybe our education system doesn't actually reward kids for. Kids
yeah.
that are
We
hyper.
demonize the social skills, honestly.
Yeah.
Well,
So
oh, you're going to be a politician when you grow up. And it's
right.
like, maybe they're going to be an awesome politician. Maybe you shouldn't demonize them so early on that it like starts to stick in their psyche that they become that evil politician.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Or it's just like, I was very, very hyperactive kid, and so I didn't do good in the school social settings. But that didn't mean I was stupid or anything like that. But you certainly come out of school feeling like you're stupid because you couldn't make it, right? And
yeah,
you're the structure that everyone else is making it. There's 30 kids in a class, and 28 of them seem to be doing all right, So that part had always struggled when it comes to something like education, where they're trying to fit square pegs and round holes. But then those very same people that might not fit in to that classic peg shape when it comes to the education system and other things, those are the people that can flourish in Web3, because all it
yeah,
takes is an idea and a team, if that's even necessary, and you can make shit happen, right? And
yeah,
the only thing that matters is some organization and your talents, right? That's basically what it comes down to. So it's giving those people, I think, access to financial stability that they were otherwise going to be left behind on when it comes to this country and how we're treating people and filtering people through the education system. I have ADHD, my kids have it, and so I'm not only have gone through it. Now I'm going through it and seeing my kids go through it. My kid's in college, but he struggled to get there because, again, they're learning in a completely different way, which means that that's twice as much work on people at home, right?
mm,
And so my parents weren't there necessarily to help me get through the school because they were too busy working. Well, my kids are lucky enough that we are there to help them, but it's definitely a bigger burden onto parents. And so you
yeah,
can just imagine parents that have to work all the time, are financially stressed, and then their kids are coming in and need like 2 hours plus of homework that they don't even want to do anymore because they feel stupid because of school. It's this whole thing. Believe me, man, it's stressful. And then
oh yeah,
that's why right now, again, like I was talking about earlier, right now I'm like, it's been years, and so they grew up knowing about D Live TV, where we're partners on, Twitch alternative, decentralized Twitch essentially. But you got to teach these people these things, and the more I learn, the more easily I can onboard people that are in the Web 2 world, like my siblings and my kids and stuff like that. So that's what it all boils, and it all goes into the same pot towards bringing and onboarding traditional users, and hopefully there'll be room for everyone, no matter how they learn.
yeah, yeah. Seriously, yeah. Because
Yeah.
I think that's a huge component of it. You brought up ADHD, and like
Hmm.
I was gonna like mention like all the autism spectrum,
Sure.
and like how like oftentimes you'll like see like either gamers or coders or just general artists and stuff like that are like super good at what they do, and especially because they're able to like hone in on and like
Hyper focus.
oftentimes hyper
Yep.
focus on the things that they actually
Oh
like,
yeah.
and most people struggle with that ability to like block out all the other noise, all the like, oh well, I'm not good at this and that and the other, and this and that and that. And these other people like are like, and like due to their this, if you want to call it an issue, but like they're focused in on this one thing or this two things,
Mm-hmm.
and due to that, they excel at those things.
Yep.
And when they're given a chance to actually perform at those things, they will crush you.
Yeah.
Like it's not even fair. You're
Yeah.
like, what is this? But they're able to actually like, like it's something that they like and they enjoy. And that was back to like that college experience that I had with having those meetings with people and stuff where they're like, oh, it's my gifted talent, I guess. And like I actually enjoy it or whatever. Like that's with other things. Some people, like, not everybody enjoyed their talent or whatever.
Sure.
But some of the people I had the meeting with actually enjoyed their talent too. And like that's when they really just took off. They're like, no, it's something that I like actually enjoy. It's like my passion thing. I can just do it leisurely. And if I just do it, then I just end up doing it all the time. And
Well,
like,
sometimes it's like finding how it works too. Like you've got your talent, but you don't know how it works in the real world or how to put it to use. That's always been my thing. Like,
mm-hmm.
not that I was super confident, but like obviously now I know that, like, I had talents. It's just when you were putting me in a cubicle, my struggles outweighed my talents, and that's why I couldn't keep a job for more than a month at a time, because I
Yeah.
was in these roles where it wasn't. I didn't have the experience to get into the roles that would have been able to, where I'd be able to flourish. So you get stuck in this rut, and if I wouldn't have went back to school, I'd easily still be in that working shitty job kind of rut. So
Yeah, and it's a shame, but like I think someday we'll it'll change.
mm,
I think blockchain and Web3 is
it's
a great
changing.
introduction to
Yeah.
that. Where hopefully we can start to change that because people can start to find whether it's a game or a certain type of project or it's writing. Like some people just want to write.
Hmm.
They're not good at math and stuff,
Yeah.
but they're really excellent at writing, and now they can actually like they can start to make that career for themselves and see some type of monetary value from that early on, first thanks to just the internet where you could get like that audience built off of that, but that wasn't
Right.
paying you necessarily.
Hmm.
Maybe you didn't have all the pieces of the puzzle because then you need, the other type of structure and more of a marketing mind, etc. But now with crypto and Web3, you can just put that out there and like all of a sudden people are finding it anyways and paying you for it with things like Hive or with your streaming ability and your ability to just be a person with, personable. And people are paying you for that, or gaming. Oh, you're a really good gamer of certain card games or a first person shooter game or whatever. And you're just earning a living off of it. And it just makes it, and I believe that'll extend into other things like, finance is another sector of crypto and Web3, obviously, that extend into, but I think it'll also extend into medical. I think it'll extend into all these different areas.
Mm,
And all of a sudden, the
for
things that
sure.
people are hyper focused on, or maybe they're not so hyper, but they enjoy, and it's their passion to get better at that thing. They'll feel that much more comfortable to just start going toward that and start to just gravitate toward that. And that'll be, it'll be a much more relaxing life. It'll be much, much more like, fulfilling, and they'll actually excel at those things. So I see the exact same thing for gaming projects and stuff. Like the more and for blockchains in general, like the more that we things expand and build out, people will be able to focus in on. You mentioned Call of Duty before.
Hmm.
I'm like like they're really good at like fast paced arena, um, but the creativity of making a new storyline and stuff like that every time, not so much.
Yeah.
Like the new gun look and stuff like that, not so much.
True.
But other people are really good at that. And so, like, as the metaverse and as these different concepts continue to evolve, like eventually, hopefully, they open up some and they can keep their arena set that they're really good at making these really fast paced arena modes
Right.
and accept other people's structures that they created for their games, accept other people's characters, their skins, their trainers, their whatever it is, and mesh them together, and still have their success for what they're good at.
Yeah. Yeah. You still. Yeah. Well, to that point, you still see like Activision doubling down and doing a lot of microtransactions in their games. Like they still don't seem worried at all, right? They're like, well, we've got the IP on the biggest, most popular games, and we know y'all are going to play them. Like they're not worried at all about someone making a more fun game,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
it's happened. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
They're coming
Exactly.
for you. So what was
Times
I
we
going to say?
live
Um, I had one other point. It slipped my mind at the moment. All right. Well, see, so this always we gotta I think I just need a better computer. So what are you running computer wise?
in.
You
This
have
is a
like two.
computer that I picked up from the grocery store.
For
as,
real?
my, as my partner likes to say, Fred Myers has everything.
It's true.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had an Alienware laptop,
Okay.
and I was loving it, but it just cried. Like I woke up one morning and it just did not turn on, and I cried and I weep. No, I did
Yeah.
not cry and weep, but emotion
Sure.
internally, I did. I was a mess. I was distraught.
Right.
Uh, but I needed something because I work from my computer and I work from home and stuff.
Sure.
And, I come up with my own income via my research and stuff. So I had to get something. And I went to Walmart and stuff and they just didn't, they had okay computers. And then I went to Fred Meyer's and yeah, they had a fine little, what's this thing called? It says Nitro on it or something. I don't know what type it's called. It's just an Acer, which is, I was also like, I don't know if I want an Acer. Too cheap. Uh,
Sure, for sure.
uh,
But it's
but
working
yeah,
out,
this is
huh?
an Acer that's made for gaming. Yeah, so it's a gaming powered Acer computer. It was a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Like, thank goodness for crypto and DeFi. Otherwise, it would not be like so quickly to just buy a gaming
Sure.
computer. It
But it's
costs
good
like,
enough that you're being able to
$1,000.
game and stream off of it pretty smoothly. You're not
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
it
it's got
to
a
PC
NVIDIA,
setup. Okay.
graphics card in there and
Cool.
stuff. It's
Yeah.
quad. No, I don't think it's
Quad
quad. It's
something.
like i5 processor. Um, it's like it was not fully up to my standards of the Alienware spoiled
Sure.
me. Like, I was like
Yeah.
quad. It was a laptop with like quad four
We're
processor,
on the come up.
i7, this and that. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Uh, so,
Um,
but yeah, it's an i5 Intel NVIDIA GeForce graphics card. Yeah, Acer. So I think on sale it could be down to like $800 something like that, but it was like
mm,
$900 something like that laptop, and
yeah.
but it does the job, and I can play tons of games on it, so I'm happy.
Nice. Cool. That's what I was gonna say earlier. Was it's almost like if you're starting out in any industry, like any industry, and you think, oh man, it's going to be hard to beat those guys at the top, you should automatically be looking into blockchain tech and how it could potentially disrupt your industry, because those guys at the top probably aren't, or not all of them certainly were even worried about it, or even
Mhm.
are aware that it could affect their industry. So you start looking, I mean, from restaurants to real estate to B&Bs to, I mean, like, just everything under the sun is going to be affected by it eventually. And
Mhm.
there's probably already companies looking into it. So it's, but still, as like individuals, I think that's the way to do it. That's how I got it. I wasn't getting any writing work. I wasn't getting any OBS work, or not a lot, until I went to a place where they were looking for that work, and I was already interested in, some of the other subjects that the projects were working on. And so you can find those projects that like align with your interests, and if you do, it's hard for them to pass you up, right? Because
Yep.
you've got special qualities. It's not just the knowledge, it's the interest, it's the passions in the projects, and that's how you find work in different and new industries, or find that those partners or that company that's like maybe new but is looking to revolutionize and change things up. So that's kind of where we're at in the industry, I would say. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
totally. And yeah, and a lot of those like legacy institutions or companies or whatever have you, are like like you were saying, like they're just not looking at that stuff or maybe not aware. And then the ones that are aware, their first move of action is usually not to go, oh, these people are surpassing me. Let me try to learn what they're learning. Their first move of action is usually to try to discredit the other person and like
exactly.
slander them in some
Yeah.
capacity. They want to like slander you and discredit
Which
you at first because like yeah, exactly. But seriously, they want to like
that's
try
the
to
old
like
thing. It's like you just call them a witch. Like, no, they're crazy, or they're trying to screw you, or whatever. Insert FUD.
yeah, like what was
Yeah.
it? Just recently, like last maybe it was over the last week or so.
Okay.
Janet Yellen, who was the
Oh
former
boy.
Fed chair, of the Federal Reserve,
Sure.
and she's had a long term like negative outlook on cryptocurrency. I say long term, it's been like I think she's been aware of it for like 4 or 5 years. But she's had a negative outlook on cryptocurrency.
Sure.
Been very vocal about that. Oh no, we need to get away with this and this and that. And then most recently, and it was funny. The timeline of it is funny because it was only a month or so after Biden issued an executive order that said that the government staff and stuff like that had to get more educated on cryptocurrencies, and
Right.
that we had to like take the people that got educated, we had to go out there and start making like educating the masses about cryptocurrency and stuff. And then she switched her tune this week, and when she was asked about cryptocurrency for the first time, it wasn't all bad. For the first time, it could actually be good for American economy and this and that. and we just had to know how to actually use it. And it was like, no shit, Janet Yellen.
Oh, look who decided to read, Janet.
Yeah, it was like seriously, like what do you? No, duh, because look at our current economy and the way that it moves. Like it's actually like this is old school bad like economics. Like, and you're using muscle power half the time to get what you want.
Yeah.
Like that's not good. Obviously, something that's just math would be better. Like, good God.
Yeah, that just tells you how little. It's hard to actually imagine at first because you're like, well, it's not that hard. But when you're in these positions, it doesn't behoove you to chase every lead, to go and research every single thing, right? You have your job to do. You're playing all your games, with the red tape and fundraising and all that sort of thing. You're working to get reelected instead of like the long game, and so it's like crypto's a long game thing. And if people aren't into it, the masses aren't into it, then it, at first glance, as a politician, you're like, I'm staying away from that, man. That's too hot of a topic. I don't know I don't know if the left or the right aligns, right? It's like a cross-party industry, for lack of a better term, I would say, right? I mean, we've got liberals and conservatives, I'd say, do it better, right? So,
yeah,
I love that the conversations go wherever they go with us.
Yeah,
It works.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, man.
It does work. It does work. You just gotta be free.
Yeah, be free. Be free, bro. Yeah. All right, man. Well, Smurf, Money Match Gaming, tell us what else you got going for the rest of the week as we part ways.
So yeah, the rest of the week, Money Match Gaming is pretty chill this week. As far as event load goes, we don't have any big events going this week. We will continue to do our Gods Unchained streams and whatnot. Whenever we do a Gods Unchained stream, look for the exclamation giveaway in the title because we're probably giving away some free Ethereum to anybody who's playing that game. It is like a raffle type of situations, but that's our way of taking the game and being totally free to play and earn your decks to, if you see some cards in the game that you really like, maybe you win the giveaway and now you can purchase those cards. But doing that all the time, I'm also just going to be doing a little bit more work on our founders NFTs. That's like the big thing for me and why I haven't really been pushing events so much. It's because I've been dialing back into some of the basics of 3D art and stuff like that.
Nice.
Myself. I want to cover, like, I can make some decent things now, but same way that I feel about marketing, every once in a while you need to go back and just study the basics and cross all your T's and stuff and get that much better at what you do because I want to make sure that I want to make sure that our founders NFTs are nice and the rollout of it is nice. And it's just like an NFT that allows people to vote on our upcoming esports events and how we manage the funds and stuff like that. But I think that's important. And I do think that'll be the future of a lot of esports organizations and teams in the future. So I want to make sure that we are not just taking the lead, but taking the lead correctly.
Yeah, so they'll have like long-term utility within your ecosystem.
Yep.
Cool. Awesome, man. Well, look forward to that. Make sure everyone checks out Money Match Gaming on Twitter for their daily events over there. Tonight, you can check out the Fight Legends Discord. We're going to be doing a Warzone. That starts Warzone game night. That starts 10 p.m. Pacific time. So make sure you pop into Discord, say hello, or at least just find me online. And we'll see you next week. Smurf, thank you very much, man.